about 1938, maybe 43, 44. My mother and father sent Ellison and I to a camp called, what's the name of that camp?
Eagle Cove.
Eagle Cove. And about 18 minutes later, Ellison says, I can't take this. So she sent my father up to get us. And Hyde brings us back to Syracuse, and now he says, what are we going to do with him? And Nellie, our mother, says, you're going to take him to the golf course. They'll babysit him out there, they'll get along fine. We knew about as much about golf as you guys know about heart surgery. But we acclimated, and we became affected by it and affectionate to it. Having golf at that stage where there was nobody around, especially Jewish people around, there were 4 Jewish people at that golf course who were 12 or 14 years old. And they let us caddy, they let us play. And Ellison became a Fabrenta, knowledgeable maven in a lot of parts of the game. There's no doubt of all the people that I've known and met, locally and internationally and nationally, that are totally immersed and cognizant of all the aspects of the game, from how to build a tee box, the way you structure and stone a tee, the way you bevel off the levels, the kind of grass you use, how to build a tournament, how to maneuver a tournament, how to schedule, all the aspects of an amateur golfer. He became president of the Syracuse Golf Association, which was a mitzvah within itself, because people didn't get Ellison. A couple of us got him. Okay, we caught him. Okay, and the bastard had a golf game you could not friggin' beat. The son of a bitch. I was blessed to be his partner most of the time, because I knew I had a better chance of winning against some of the gangsters that came along. And these guys now were gangsters, but they'll steal the holes out of your belt if they can. I mean, they were just challenging times. And we were blessed to have a golf pro who understood the golf swing and understood every aspect. And we met some great professional touring golfers. Lloyd Mangrum. Who else did we meet?
Jordan Spade, Vic Gezzi.
Yeah, we met some good guys, and we caddied for them. And Ellison and I paid for our golf lessons by shagging for the members. Shagging is where the guy hits the golf ball and you gather him back and bring him back to the teacher and to the students. We were at the point we were catching him in the air. I'm serious. We were catching him on the fly. And there was this little part of the golf course. Slow down, Anita.
His turn.
Okay. How would you like to get that 24 hours a day? Really? Okay. That's all right. I wouldn't trade her for 4. Okay, I mean, no way. So that's how, now Ellison goes his way, I go my way, and now I call him up and I start to tell him about what I'm doing. And he says, I'm going to come up and do a golf lecture, a golf presentation. So about 2 weeks later, a month later, he says, and while I'm there, I'm going to do a memorial for Beth. Let me give you some history. I remember when they started going out with each other. I don't think they knew where each other's glands were, but they found it. And they got married and they had a quality, sensible, down-to-earth life. They were blessed. And Ellison was blessed to have her some of the time. It was just perfect. But that's okay. Now, if I got along with everybody in this world, it'd be amazing. But now I'm here, thankfully, to give some time to present my dearest brother, my best brother, my most best brother that a man could have. I'm serious. If I wanted to draw a brother and manufacture a brother and create a brother. I couldn't have done better. Okay, that's how I feel about it. So now I present to you, what's your name?
Let me look at my wallet at my license.
Our brother Ellison Kuppermann.
Now to the meat of the title. Is for, some of you don't know what for is. Well, if I were hitting toward you, I would yell, "For!" And at age 82, I still don't swing too bad.
We'll duck that.
So, that leads me to this subject. Is forlorn. Golf and country clubs, the future in America, and the erosion of facilities. It is interesting to note, for the most part, we here in this room today think that golf is played, oh, my friend Barbara,
How far back do you go with Barb?
75 years. Most of you think that it is a private country club element that you're familiar with. And some of you are recently familiar that there are public country clubs. It is hard to understand that there are clubs like Liverpool Country Club, Drumlin's West, and they're public courses. It's also hard to identify with just a simple golf course only, like Linden, Westvale, Pine Grove, Wanoa, etc. Here in Central New York, we have facilities of 9 holes, as is the Ridge in Chittenango, 18 holes like most facilities, 36 holes like Drumlin's, and even 54 holes, as is available at the Turning Stone Casino and Resort. All different qualities and vastly different costs. What is also interesting is to realize that they all have a commonality outside of the actual game of golf. Common threads are, they are a business. They are in competition with one another to survive. They all try to predict the future. The savvy operators know that they lay among bubbles that are bursting every day. How many of you know that many of the facilities face the threat of going out of business? How do we know that? It's simple. Just read the newspapers, golf magazines, and open your eyes to what I'm about to reveal to you. Most of you know about the Lafayette Country Club's closing a few years back. This is a quick study of history. It's established in 1922 as a country club for Jewish people to play golf and socialize because other pre-existing facilities were not open to the public and the people of the Jewish faith. Those clubs were also not open to Italians or blacks. Oh, excuse me, let me be politically correct. African Americans. The leaders of the Syracuse Jewish community got together and established Lafayette. They engaged A.J. Tillinghast to design a 9-hole course with 2 different sets of tees, and therefore had 18 positions that made up what was then their 18-hole course. Tillinghast was a premier designer of courses in America. Many today serve as hosts to national championships like the US Open and the PGA Championship. By going around twice, you can imagine the course could not have been crowded, as there was never a wait time, and membership was very, very small. It wasn't until after World War II that the American economy was booming. Syracuse was a large industrial city, and more people had more resources. And their discretionary income was large enough to enable the Jewish population to seek membership into Lafayette. The explosion of membership caused overcrowding and the necessity to expand the layout to an actual 18-hole facility in 1952. The stucco clubhouse had to be added onto in order to accommodate the members for dining and cards. A larger locker room was an additional enhancement. With that in place, more outside people sought to join. And by 1972, the membership swelled to 280 families. They had added watered fairways, a swimming pool, tennis courts. They were truly an upscale country club. In 1987, tragedy struck when, during the winter, the clubhouse caught fire and burned completely to the ground. The president at that time was on a winter vacation in Florida, and he had his vice president oversee the rebuild of the facility. It was determined to relocate the clubhouse high on a hill, eliminating an unsightly and smelly trash garbage situation that had previously existed. This new facility was a winner. The traffic pattern inside for going to the grill room or the dining facility, as well as the bar, that was people friendly, and then to locker rooms and out to the pro shop and outdoors to the cart area, where they were some of the many features of that facility. Looking north, you could see the Carrier Dome. If you look northwest, you could see the atomic tower in Oswego. Yeah, you might need the help of binoculars, but you can see it. Looking west, you viewed Onondaga Hill, and further southwest, the valley. Backtrack a little to 1960s, when the federal government made a ruling that if any organization that would convert farmland into recreational facilities, the mortgage loan rate would only be 3% instead of 8 or 9%. This led to a boom in golf facilities that opened up. Beaver Meadows, Poppy Hills, the Calvary Club converting from a dining club to a country club, Rogue's Roost, and many, many more in the near central New York area, as well as throughout America. Soon after manufacturing was leaving our area, the first major plant to close was Allied Chemical, followed by L.C. Smith, General Electric, General Motors, Chrysler, part of Bristol, and eventually Carrier. This exodus led to a loss of near 60,000 jobs, affecting 180,000 people, if one includes a spouse and a child. Among those losses were many executive and management positions that accounted for memberships in golf clubs. So what happened to Lafayette that it went out of business? The membership started to shrink. The loss of industry, coupled with Lafayette having young, successful Turks that took over as officers, offending some of the membership, driving some away to other clubs. The downturn of the economy added fuel to the inevitable collapse of Lafayette. Oh, they tried to sell equity positions in the club, which was a failure, leading to the sale of the club to a golf group of touring professionals from Rochester. They had no clue how to run a country club other than to run it into the ground. They eventually sold it to a local man that had less clue, and he eventually closed the doors. This once magnificent course of bent grass greens, Poana fairways, gorgeous clubhouse, lovely swimming pool in deck with a snack bar, and its professional tennis courts have all gone to seed. Heartbreaking to see the complex today. You may think that this story I told you is just one of those things. It is not, because it is currently happening all over America. It has been ongoing for some years now. Before I take you on a trip through articles that I uncovered, let me tell you two things that prompted me to get into this subject. About 2 years ago, Michael Moss wanted a history of Lafayette Country Club as I remembered it. The start of that project and a newspaper report that I read in the Palm Beach Post not this May, but last May 7th, was the beginning of this journey. The newspaper's title was West Palm to rebuild part of tennis center, look into golf course and rebuild its clubhouse that was torn down. The phrase, rebuild its clubhouse that was torn down, led me on a mission. I sought out the city administrator, Mr. Jeff Green. He told me the clubhouse for the golf course was demolished 6 years previously. And they had been working their pro shop out of a prefabricated metal trailer-like building. The obvious question is, why did they tear down the old building? The answer is that they did not have the funds to fix, repair, or maintain it. This made no sense. The truth is, they want their historical West Palm Beach golf course to be able to generate enough funds to support these issues. They spent significant dollars and engaged a firm, McCormick, some of you may have heard that name, to redo the golf course only. My discovery since is that it was a poor decision, and many regular players don't like the makeover. As a result of the city wanting this to be a self-funding, the profit and loss issues don't support the need of more dollars to maintain the course properly. There is no profit, just loss. The course that was in very good condition is going downhill daily. I was shocked to see the unacceptable conditions of the tees, the fairways, the roughs, the greens. People on the Mayor's Advisory Commission seem to be satisfied. They are blind to reality. There is a need for a transfusion of money to bring the course and clubhouse dream into reality. That is why Judy Dickinson, a former LPGA tour player, and Judy is the head professional there, asked me if I would consider a position on the Mayor's Advisory Commission. I agreed to it. Little did I know that the Golf Advisory Committee has the power, and very little, the commission has very little power. The power lies in the commission, not the committee. And the Golf Commission is made up of individuals who unbelievably, none of whom play golf. How much sense does that make? That led me to other publications, but first let me open this time for questions and answers. For you, what have you just heard, and who wants to start asking me any questions about this? Okay, Lewis, start.
Explain to us how the economics funnel from the top of the funnel, Ellison, so you squeeze it to the dollar to make the golf course perpetual. You have to have an economic plan to make this thing viable and worthwhile. For the effort, instead of screwing around with your time and just wasting it and blowing it against the wall. And I've discussed this with you a number of times, and I keep on getting this message that you're like throwing your time against the wall.
But what basically you're asking is, why am I spending my time with the West Palm Beach Golf Advisory Committee? You'd have to know my personality. I accept the challenge. I'm up to it all the time. What disturbs me in life in general is wasting money. You ever watch the show, the Shark Tank?
Yes.
Yes.
And Mr. Wonderful would always say, but how am I gonna make money?
That's right.
And that's the name of any business. And golf is a business. How do you make money? Their problem in West Palm Beach, as other municipalities, is they don't have the ability to charge enough money to generate the income that they need to maintain, because the cost of maintenance is extremely high.
Explain that.
It's very
By the
labor
whole.
intensive.
Explain that by the whole. There's $100 grand, $125 grand, a hole, not for the golf course, a hole.
The cost of maintaining a golf course runs into the millions. They can't generate it on a greens fee of $25 a player. Even if they could play 24 hours a day, there wouldn't be enough income. So the political aspect of it is that the city doesn't want to fund anything. And that is criminal. The city's got money to do things that are way out.
they had the other day an event that attracted 22 people. And it must have cost them roughly $25,000–$30,000 to promote it. Where's the logic? It reminds me, years ago, a gal came to me and said, I want you to donate some paper plates and cups. We're having a card party and it's a fundraiser. I said, oh, it's wonderful, I'd be willing to do that. How many do you expect? Well, we expect to get maybe 60, 70 players. I said, that's great. How much you charging? I'm charging about $10. I said, you're charging $10, you're gonna get $600 or $700 as a fundraiser. And you're going around to different merchants. You want free food, you want this, you want that. Contact 3 or 4 guys and say, give us a check for $250 and we would all do it. And you wouldn't have to have a fundraiser that is meaningless. It's the same thing, the parallel here. You can't expect to get a few pennies to do a grandiose thing. I don't care what charity it is. You take a charity and you give them $600, it doesn't pay for anything. They need thousands. The same thing, the city needs to spend not 25, 30,000 for 22 people to show up for nothing. They need to spend $25,000, $30,000 to take care of the golf course and to build a new clubhouse. It's really mind-boggling. It's a terrific challenge. And I speak up at every meeting, and we have 4 meetings a year, which is not enough. And we advise the commission, and the commission then takes the political route of deciding what's really going to be done. They don't care about the golfers. They're not golfers. Insane. The whole thing is insane. So when I speak up at a meeting and I let them have it about how run down the course is and how this is bad and they're not doing this, I'm challenging them to throw me out of the committee. They're going to want to get rid of me. They don't want to hear me. They don't want to take good advice. So that's Barbara.
It's a question about when the clubhouse was rebuilt twice. I remember 1957, because my wedding was the first event there in 57. But when was it, after that, it was another rebuild, it was rebuilt or added to, and when was that? Do you remember?
It was a few phases. So I would suggest that the last edition that they put on was in the early 60s.
I would guess. Oh, that one. Oh, could it have been that soon after 57?
Yeah, it was, yeah, they had to add additional things on in the 60s.
Oh, so how
remember
years
that.
did it burn down?
87. 1987.
And they
it burned down.
lasted for how long after that?
Lasted until maybe, what, 4 years ago? It's
No,
been
it's not
down,
over, is it?
it's been out of business for 4, well, it lasted as the True Lafayette Country Club until about 9, 10 years ago.
Yeah.
what is the property lease is making now?
Oh, it's,
It's dormant.
No, it is a cow pasture. By the way, speaking about cow pastures, let me divert. So, being the proper committee person, commissioner, what I did was I joined the West Palm Beach Municipal Golf Course. And I play there every Saturday. If I tell you the condition is deplorable, might be a compliment. It is disgusting. So I let them know at the meeting, I said, you would probably think that I'm going to call this course a cow pasture. It's not a cow pasture. See, a cow pasture has a place to graze on grass. There's no grass here. This doesn't qualify. A cow pasture has a place where the cows can relieve themselves. They're not going to put their hooves in hot sand to do that. So this does not qualify for a cow pasture. Now, I told them this at a public meeting. Yes.
What happened to the grass? Did it burn up?
Well, the grass went downhill because the remodel of the course, which is now 7 years ago, they put in a watering system. And the watering system broke down. As a result, they didn't have irrigation to support the grass, and the grass turned to nothing, and the course designer, McCormick, instead of having like canals or lakes or ponds or whatever, they opted to have what they call waste bunkers. Now, waste bunkers is nothing more than sand. It's not a trap where you cannot ground your club in the trap. You can ground your club in a waste bunker. However, I can't tell you the vastness of sand at this golf course. Now the wind comes along and blows the sand onto the fairway. Now the fairway part of is its sand. It's a mess. If I tell you it's a mess, you gotta believe me what I'm telling you.
Why do you think fewer people are playing golf today?
Oh, many reasons. By the way, the number of golfers, while it's down, is not down as significantly as the number of places that are closing. The reason play is down among people, not necessarily rounds, but people, is that the younger element can't afford to take 6 hours out to drive to a course, 4 hours for a round of golf, have a beer, soda at the end, a little snack, and go home. It takes 6, 7 hours. The younger people, and it's usually males, they want to spend more time. They're more family inclined than they used to be years ago. When we grew up, we weren't as family oriented and focused, but the younger ones are, and they don't want to take the time. That's why tennis became popular, because it took less time. Tennis, you can go out, play for a couple of hours and be home, and you spend maybe 4 hours. Golf, you're gonna spend 6, 7, 8 hours. That's one of the reasons of the decline of people playing, amount of people playing. But that's not a lot of it. I'm not gonna owe anything to attrition because more people are being created than are dying off because the populace of everything is going up. So it can't be that. But I think it's the time element.
Allison, there's too many in this area, there's too many golf courses for the amount of people that play. You yourself
Well,
mentioned about.
Yeah, I'm gonna get to that in the second half of this program. That is a real problem.
Ellison, also the younger people are not joiners, not just of country clubs, but of anything.
That's true, that's true.
There's a movement for
It's a
that.
different
I think there's a
world
movement
out there.
Absolutely.
However,
He's not a kid, but-
people like myself who are spoiled and belong to IBIS, and I used to belong to Ballin Isle. By the way, there's a fellow in IBIS also on my advisory committee. And he's very vocal. He doesn't like what he's seeing, and he knows about the money that your people are spending to redo. So, and I know about Ballin Isles, and I'll get into that a little later. But you're right, they're not joiners. They're not joiners anymore.
But
I'm
that
sure
might go
people like the
next.
Elks Club, the Moose Club, those are dying entities. You know,
They want to travel, the young people. I heard that.
that's right. That's right, they want to travel, and they do travel.
They're playing golf on their cell phone.
It's not the same as playing, it's not the same as playing bridge on
I'll
a
figure that out.
golf.
He's not so young. He's not so young.
A lot of younger people are doing cell phones instead of going out and doing things. You get out on a golf course, you can't make your cell phone work. It's like I was a camp director for quite a few years, and now camps are having an awful time because kids won't go to camp because you're out in the middle of the boondocks, there's no place to answer your cell phone. You can't live without that.
And I'll tell you what the thing that's happening on golf courses. They want to ban cell phones because it's disturbing to the round.
That's right. Absolutely.
Person's getting ready to hit a ball, and ring. Person answers it. I played with a fella 2 weeks ago.
I wish they'd ban them altogether.
He was on the phone for 2.5 holes. Very disturbing. He can't play along, and he slows the game down. Cell phones, they're good for the younger, they're not good for us.
Well, Ellison, the cost of playing golf today is measurably greater than it ever was.
Yeah, the cost of golf is up, no question about it. However, so is the income for the people that are joining that sport. It's like anything else, you say the cost of golf. Look at what they're paying basketball players, $300 million for one contract. Baseball players into the hundreds of millions. Football players, the same. And where does the money come from? The money comes from the people, not in attendance necessarily, but the advertising. And where do the advertisers get their money? From selling their product to the general public. It's outrageous, the monies that are being made in sports and spent on sports. But in golf, the professional golfer has to make his own way. He has to make his own living. He has to pay for his own expenses. He doesn't get flown for no cost from one city to the next wherever the tournament is every week. He's paying for it. He's paying for his caddy. These other professional athletes getting their money, they pay for nothing.
They don't even pay for their own jack.
becoming a board of spectators is what's happening, unfortunately.
Well, there's always going to be an element of people that follow sports, and their discretionary income is going to go to season tickets or special events, and that's understandable. Look at right here in Syracuse. Do you know how much it cost to build the Carrier Dome in 1980?
18,
1980,
18 mil.
$26 million. And I know it very well because I was, at that time, quite friendly with Mel Eggers, the chancellor. And I didn't want him to put the stadium there. I wanted him to put it someplace else where I thought it would be a better thing for the city. But he said to me, it's gonna be where the old Archibald is, because we've got the deal with the state. And the state was gonna fund most of that money. They got $2.5 million from Carrier for the name. They raised a lot of money on the boxes and the preferred seating application. But it costs, do you know how much it costs to build a stadium today?
To replicate that stadium today, Ellison, it's probably 2.5.
Oh, never. You never can do it.
I'm not talking about million, I'm talking about billion.
Billion. Billions. I go down to the Miami, used to be the Orange Bowl. And that's where they built the new Miami baseball stadium. Covered roof, it opens up and closes. Billions. Billions. Numbers that we cannot even understand. Can you comprehend billions? And one day it's going to be trillions. Yes?
I can remember when we had the recession and it was so heavily based on housing. A lot of, like NPR's Marketplace did a lot of analyses on these developments of McMansions, I would call them. And it was very, very common, as they described, especially throughout the Southwest and Southeast United States, for these developers to build a bunch of, $300,000 to $700,000 houses and then build a golf course, because that would make the development seem more attractive. But very quickly, they wouldn't support it. There was no money for the actual golf course. They simply wanted there to be a golf course nearby in order to sell houses, to make the houses more marketable. And so I think that speaks to her point earlier that there are too many golf courses now.
Well,
Up here,
here's the general problem. Let's take the Syracuse Central New York area. The problem here is that you've lost so much industry that you've lost a lot of players that had the income to support these golf courses. Then along came the government and gave them a sweetheart deal, and more courses were built. Now, there's a shrinkage in population, a shrinkage in membership, less golf. Places are in trouble financially. They're not getting the income that they thought they were going to get. That goes without saying.
Also,
It's just part of the fact.
young people, I have 6 grandchildren, they all belong to, workout clubs, gyms. And it's very important whether they do before they go to work or after work.
That's right.
And they don't have any other time.
There's only so many hours in a day. You can only do so many activities. And golf takes time. Unfortunately, that's what happens. Here's an article from July of last year, July 26th. And I picked this up on the internet. But the title of it is, "More Courses Will Close Than Open Over the Next Few Years." And this article was published 4 years ago. Actually, yeah, 4 years ago. It was published, first published, and it was reintroduced into the internet last year.
What paper was that published in?
Here's a little statistic. The National Foundation of Golf said that 13.5 courses opened, that would be in 2012, while 154.5 courses closed. A total of 68% of those closures came among lower priced facilities, which continues a trend that has run throughout the economic downturn. Since 2006, market correction in golf course supply began. 499.5 golf courses, again measured by 18-hole equivalents, have shut their doors. 500 courses. The report said that in 2012 marked the 7th straight year in which more American courses closed than opened. Even so, they point out that represents only 500 of approximately 16,000 total golf facilities nationwide. Failed courses. Fate sparked battles. This is all in my area in Florida. Sherbrooke Golf and Country Club
You know what that is?
in Lake Worth. It was foreclosed on, or it was closed after the death of the founder, Mac Schweibel, last year. It is now overgrown. Golf courses are failing at an alarming rate, said Bob Assart, Washington's planning, zoning, and building director. And on the other hand, where I used to live, Bell and Isle members approved major clubhouse renovation.
Where is that down?
Bell and Isles is in Palm Beach Gardens, Florida, on PGA Boulevard, right near the Florida Turnpike.
I used to live in Palm Beach Gardens, it's a long time ago.
Well, you know that Palm Beach Gardens was founded by the MacArthur Foundation. John D. MacArthur founded that whole area, and he owned tens of, maybe hundreds of thousands of acres. And a lot of them have become golf mecca of the world right now. In fact, I don't know if I have it with me. Probably not. There was an article about, oh yes, I do. Hometown destinations, welcome to the good life, Palm Beach Gardens. Whose picture is that? Ricky Fowler's.
Ricky Fowler,
It's big.
top golfer of the world,
Oh, yeah.
one-time #1. Where does he live?
Jupiter.
He lives across the street of Bell and Isles in a place called Old Palm, which is home to many of the touring pros. Now, you can get a home in Old Palm if you want a starter's home at $1.5 million. You can go up to, you name the number, you got it.
That's what Ben Carson is.
18-hole facility that is gorgeous. They have 3 extra holes they built as a practice area with 3 major departure of distances of tees so that they could turn a par 5 into a par 4 or a par 3, or reverse, 3, 4, 5 length. Then they have an indoor area when it rains and you want to practice. Electric garage door opens, huge. And inside, they have all kinds of cameras and shots from below, and it shows you your swing and everything. And you hit real balls off a mat out into the distance of the practice range. This all costs money. This is not a cheap operation. Yes, Winnie?
I'm gonna ask a stupid question.
No.
In all that you're talking about,
Yes.
and I spent a month down there, why does West Palm need a municipal golf
Oh,
course?
that's a very good question.
Different area.
My point of view was either close the cotton picking thing
Close
or make it viable.
it. Yeah.
It's the 2 choices. Well, there are covenants. And it was deeded to be forever a golf course. That is why they
Because
have.
it sounds so
golf courses.
stupid, doesn't it?
Now, there are public courses that are being developed right now. Public golf courses sinking millions into clubhouses. Here's what they want to do in West Palm Beach. The golf course is located in an industrial area on the edge of a ghetto area. They want to build a clubhouse for the community to hold weddings
Oh, yeah.
and celebrations.
Oh.
They can't run a golf course now, how are they going to run a restaurant?
It's the whole thing.
Next to a ghetto.
I was in the restaurant supply business. I can tell you, it isn't going to happen effectively. What's going to happen is, nobody's going to clean it, it's going to deteriorate, and someday they're going to tear it down again. And they're not going to have the money to even maintain it, to clean it, to paint it. They need a small clubhouse. A 19th hole where you can get a beer or a drink, and you can get a hot dog or a sandwich, and that's all they need. I'm looking at it practically. Do they need to invest millions more, pay for the insurance that is going to be greatly more, pay for the overhead of operating the utilities, pay for the labor? They're smoking funny stuff. They can't be for real. And yet, that's what they want to do. And I'm fighting tooth and nail not to do that.
because.
You want me to call my man Dominic Giappone?
Yeah, and wipe them out, right.
That's right.
Now, here's a course in North Palm Beach. They're gonna spend $15 million to improve a golf course, and they're gonna have Carl Van Luger Steakhouse and seafood restaurant. I don't disapprove of this. Why? Because this is in a very upscale area. Lots of money around, of buildings where people live that are not on golf courses, and it's a public facility that they all play. They have the income, they pour it in there, that's fine. Out of the joint that I'm at, I'm gonna tell you, they're not gonna attract that crowd. They're just not gonna attract that crowd. This place will. So, you might find me supporting one thing and speaking about something else, but the truth of the matter is, they can't do it.
So what's the salvation, Ellison?
Salvation is, I'm gonna get my little notes here together. Sometimes I do that, sometimes I get my act together. So I'm gonna take another couple of minutes out to show you what golf is about. It seems, oh, we were talking about Belmont Heights. Within the past decade, they spent $40 million to build a fitness center, fine restaurant, improve the pool facility, absolutely magnificent. It's like being on Hawaii. A tennis center, well, you know, the Williams sisters, Venus and Serena lived there. And the facility is unbelievable. That facility cost $25 million. Then they spent $9 million to remodel the East Course. That was the original PGA championship course. MacArthur Foundation and the PGA had an argument over 25 cents for a cart charge, and PGA picked themselves up and went across the turnpike and built PGA National. And Bell Isle changed hands, etc. But they took the East Course, which was gorgeous. I played it in 1971 with a gal some of you may have heard of, Debbie Austin, who became Golfer of the Year in either 72 or 73, won 6 tournaments on the LPGA Tour. I was also with quality amateur golfers, champion Bill Gerber and Kerry Gordon. Debbie and I, we played there in 1971. It was open only to PGA members and their guests. And I talked them into the fact that Debbie was an LPGA member, and that should be allowed, and they allowed us to play. It was a gorgeous facility. Gorgeous. they spent $9 million in ruining this gorgeous facility. And I tell you, ruined it. Ruined it. Not even people friendly. You wouldn't want to go into one of their traps because the lips are way up here and the ball is way down there. And you, how am I gonna get the hell out of here? I don't even think I can walk out of here. Then they took the balance of the money and made some improvements into the main clubhouse. Then a few years went by. There was 3 golf courses there. And they poured another $6 million into doing the North Course. And they got every penny's worth of result. It's a wonderful, golfer-friendly, user-friendly, because not all golfers become proficient. They hit the ball, they have fun, but it's no fun to struggle. It might have been for me because I was competitive and so forth, and I was able to compete and endure and tolerate and plan out my event of where I'm going to hit the ball. Most people can't do that, and nor should they. So that was $6 million well spent. Now they've spent $6 million. Wow. The ladies need a better card. They need more facilities for cards. We have a lot of bridge players now. We have a lot of canasta players. We have a lot of mahjong. We can't regulate the temperature. It's either too cold or it's too hot. And it's crowded. We tore out some lockers and some of they added some tables and chairs for more games. And as my wife used to say, Beth used to say, I'm not playing in the toilet. And that's what it was. It was the restroom where the light. So now the ladies need more room. And there was a way of doing it. Add on to the area, you got more room. Or they could have robbed some space in the men's card room, which there's so much space in there that they don't need it all. No. Well, as long as we're doing that, why don't we relocate the pro shop? Relocate it. I don't know why they want to relocate it, but they wanted to relocate it. Oh, and our kitchens need to be redone, and we should have better dining, and Now they are spending $40 million more, and they just shut down their facility as of May 1st, and they put up a tent or 2 or 3 and 4 is going up. And I received a phone call this morning, Wayne knows, from a fellow that says to me, do you want to play poker this afternoon? I says, I would love to play poker this afternoon. He says, well, we need you. I said, I don't think I can make it. I told him where I was and what I was doing. I said to him, by the way, I have to ask you a question, Ernie. How is Tent City?
You're nice.
How is Tent City? He says, well, you know, we can't accommodate what we did before, we had restrictions, and blah, blah, blah. And our summer game is consolidated because some of the guys are away. But I said, okay, have a good game, meaning He's not happy with it either, I can tell by his looks.
Where's Tent City?
Tent City is the tents that they put up to replace, to give them facilities for, how long is the club going to be closed?
2 years.
A year and a half to 2 years. You know what's going on in Ibis.
But it worked, it worked. I
It
would
worked,
say.
but this is, and I think you have 2 courses at Ibis? Or
3.
You also have 3, yeah. I've played them all and I can't, I don't know one hole from another. They're all Nicholas design courses and they're all good courses. Nice courses at Ibis. Talk about Jan Nicholas.
Whisper in his ear.
November 2016. Nicholas to redesign Boca Club's course. The golf course is part of Via Meisner Project Private Club. It tells all about it, and the millions and the zillions and all that sort of thing. That was November 2. November 23.
Take your pictures.
Banyan K bags Nicholas. He's going to redesign their place too. Great golf redo for the course. Noble House to develop a hotel club. Banyan K is formerly known as the Presidents in West Palm Beach. This is the one I love. Nicholas blames golf ball for recent closures, course closures. He blames the golf ball. The basic theory is that the golf ball today travels too far. Because it travels too far, they need to lengthen the course. They need to lengthen the course, it's more turf to maintain.
Are they making
18
the golf ball
holes.
differently now?
Yes, they are. They're
Who's making it, doing that, causing problems?
well, according to Jack Nicholas, it's the golf ball goes too far. So what he wants them to do, is to design 3 or 4 different golf balls that will travel different distances so that they can play on the existing courses that are. I don't want to say, listen, I'm older than he is, but I think he's getting old. This is ludicrous to blame the ball. Oh, I'm okay. Then we talked about time. Yes. Hello.
You look familiar.
You've
go
seen
up on
me.
Jersey Park Drive.
This is the old story about the Murphy brothers. Yeah. Wait. So in closing, the North County sees boom in clubhouses. I can hear the explosion. Boca has big plans for golf course.
Is that Boca Raton?
Now,
Uh-huh.
rules changes, this is just this year, March. Rule changes aim to simplify and speed up the game. Speed up the game. I told you it takes too much time to play the game. I'm retired, I have nothing but time, I can stay out there all day. But a businessman, A student, young married, they can't afford that time. So where does it all lead? It leads to supply and demand. Many people want the demand, and they're willing to pay for it. Many people have been demanded to pay for it, and they don't want to. There's too much supply of golf courses. That's why they're closing. Like Lefty said originally, there's too many. Yes, ma'am?
You know, a lot of people don't like to hear it, but it sounds to me like the church is all closing down, closing the doors. You know, all over. And, you know, Judgment Day and Armageddon, and then comes, you know, the author and finisher of our faith.
Well, I'm not gonna get into the politics, but I tell you one thing. I've played a few trump courses and they are great. That's all I can tell
That's
you.
the only thing that's great.
His courses are great. I leave you to think about the wastefulness, the political, why does West Palm Beach want to do all this? The commissioners that don't play golf want to do it to appeal to the people down there to get their votes. That's the only reason. It's all political. It's not what do the golfers want, it's what the politicians want.
Excellent.
Thank you all.
Thank you, Ellison. Thank you, everybody. We will meet again. When I'm 35.